Hey guys, welcome. Hey everybody, welcome. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for everybody to tune in. Okay, so I'm ready to rock and roll. I hope you guys are ready to take notes because this is a very important topic. I wanted to kind of just get into something that a lot of people typically ask me questions about. And I want to talk about, is it worth hiring a career coach? Like, what is this? Do you need it? What is it that you need to propel you into tech? What do you need to propel you into leadership? Do you really need to hire these people? Can you just do a DIY? What's the risk to doing a DIY? And what is the real benefit to hiring these people? Like, is this something you can just do yourself? And so that's pretty much what I want to talk about with you guys today. So I'm going to suggest that maybe you get a pen and paper or something you can write with to make notes because this is a very important topic. This is a topic, like I said, I always hear people debate. A lot of people have bad experiences, and like they say, we have a good experience, we tell a few people. We have a bad experience. Oh my God, excuse me, I'm so sleepy. We have a bad experience, we tell everybody, honey. We put the people on blast. And so I want to talk about how to avoid blowing your money and how to manage your expectations when you're booking these services. And, when is it time to hire a career coach, executive services, a resume writer? So let's jump right into it. What we're covering, what you need to ask yourself, what you need to ask the coach, and why invest. You guys, this is something, you have to really kind of understand what you're getting into. This is your hard earned money. It's an investment you've probably never made before or did. And so there's a lot of nervousness around it. Or maybe you didn't get much value. So you need to ask the career coach the following to ensure you are a good match because everything is not for everyone. There has to be trust, excitement, clarity in what you're getting. And most important, there has to be a synergy. So, what exactly separates the reals from the fakes? So, let's get into that. One of the reasons why psychics are so good because when you talk to a psychic, they have a tendency to um, repeat back what you're saying in different ways. And so that's one of the reasons psychics are good is because you pretty much tell them what your problem is, what you're looking for, and so they can just say, "Yeah, I know how to do that." Versus you just listening to them talk and you making a decision if this service is for you. So make sure when you're booking a resume writer, executive services, excuse me, it's springtime in Texas. Make sure when you're booking these services that you actually are listening more than you are talking. Make it clear what's going on with you. Don't lead. Listen. Ask the right questions so you don't teach people how to answer you. That's what I'm trying to get at. So ask the right questions. And I'm going to take you through a series of questions you need to be asking these people before you spend your hard earned money. I'm also going to say, make sure you outline exactly what your needs are. And so we're going to get a little bit into that. Here are the things that the resume writer and the career coach, executive services, here's what they cannot do. Okay. They cannot tell you your goals or what they should be. If somebody starts telling you your goals or what you need to be focused, what your goals should be, that's not their role. Okay. It's your place to know a goal. You can't just tell people I'm trying to pivot into tech. Okay. Um, do you have an idea? Like, if you don't even understand the industry you're pivoting into, there's a hang up there. So, are you looking for the career coach to provide clarity on an industry so that you can be able to understand what you're pivoting into and where you're best suited? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't just have these, oh, I want to move into leadership. Okay. What are you looking for? Like, the recruiter cannot make it plain what you want. So, this is something that's on you. Give a real actionable strategy based on a small chat. I get a lot of people who book my one-on-one sessions and they want to know everything they need to do in 15 minutes, and that's not possible. What you should be doing is interviewing and making sure this person is in alignment with what your goals are, and that is their area of expertise. Don't use that small chat to try to force all that conversation, because nothing's going to get accomplished, and you're still going to leave that chat not understanding what you're purchasing, what you want right now in your career. Okay. A lot of people say, oh, I just want to pivot into tech. Is that what you're really saying? Or are you saying, hey, I'm trying to pivot into tech or another industry where my skills can transfer to take me into leadership, or to maybe take me into this side of the business? So what you want right now, do you want to just get promoted in the company you're in? Do you want to understand how to really come up with a strong performance plan as a leader so you can have impact? The recruiter, the career coach, the resume writer cannot tell you what you want in your career, okay? They cannot fix all your problems and tell you how they're going to fix all your problems in one chat. They cannot tell you where you feel stuck. That's something you have to explain. They cannot fix your entire career path without you putting in the effort or investment. A lot of people utilize free services or just post stuff in free Facebook groups. That's pretty helpful. But if you're looking for real strategy that carries you for years and shifts your tax bracket, you're going to have to invest in that, okay? Some things there is just kind of like going to college. You got to invest in it. If you're looking to fix your entire career path because you are completely off base, or you're trying to go into another industry, again, these are the things the career coach cannot understand or do without you first understanding what your problems are. Okay, so what is your problem? Let's get into that. Is it salary? Are you happy in the role you're in, but you're not making enough? Are recruiters telling you you're overqualified? What's happening? What are you basing this off of? Because it can't be a feeling. I had a young lady tell me she wanted to do a part-time job working from home, making $300,000 a year in tech. I could tell, ma'am, you must have been following people who are posting all this crazy stuff, or you're following people who are in these Facebook groups that are telling you all kind of crazy stuff. So you don't have realistic expectations. That is not, no ma'am. With no tech background asking for that, it's a no. Okay. And so, do you understand what you're basing your salary? Are you paid? Did you recently go through a pay cut? Did you take a step back because you were desperate, right? Did you get laid off? And so you're looking for somebody to compensate you for lost time. Is it your industry? The retail industry, the food industry, they all pay very low. So is it that, you know what, I work too hard for the amount of money I get in my industry? I need to move because I want to bring in more stability. I want to make at least $10,000 a month. Like, what are your real goals? That's what I'm talking about. Have you been rejected after promotions? Maybe it's your company. Maybe you're in an environment where you need to leave the company, or you love the company you work for, and you just want to know ways you could just move up and utilize that. You'll probably get promoted where you're planted if you understand the strategy and approach to that. If you say, I want to leave my company, okay, why? Are you rejected after promotions? Are you negotiating your salary? And I know you may say, girl, this has nothing to do with hiring these services. Yes, it does. Too many times I meet people who just say, I'm not getting paid enough, and they do not know why. Did you not negotiate your salary? Why are you not getting paid enough? Where's my industry? Okay, how long have you stayed in that industry? And what's pushing you to pivot? Is it the cost of living? Okay, is it the area you live in? Are you overqualified? Listen to recruiter feedback. I read a lot of notes in Facebook groups where people are always saying, oh, these recruiters, they wasted my time. Okay, when they tell you they're going to pass on you, are you asking them, hey, can you tell me what made you pass on me? Because there's gold there. That's something you can take to the person you're going to hire. If they say, hey, your resume looks good, but you're overqualified or you're underqualified, you don't have enough experience, your resume is not really an executive style resume. What are you getting from recruiters? Are they saying, yeah, I mean, you did good in the first interview, but the second interview seems like you just kind of really couldn't describe what you bring to the table? Make sure you get that feedback, because that's something you have to take to the person that you're hiring to help you through your issues, okay? So that's why that's and very important for you to understand that. Where are you pulling the information? Are you trying to pivot because you're simply bored? A lot of people are sick of teaching, or they lost their passion, so they're looking to pivot out of those two areas. What are you basing this off of? Because it can't be a feeling out of frustration. What about your job is frustrating you? And I ask these questions because if you're saying, oh, I'm sick of this job I work for, I work at a company where they expect you to do all this stuff and wear all of these hats and do the impossible, I want to pivot into tech. I want to go somewhere where I'm making money. Okay, if you say you having a problem in that, what that means is you don't do very well in high functioning or large complex workplaces. So why would you be looking for a job at Amazon where it is very, very high stress, right? Okay, and so is it your industry? Is it that you just lost your zest for your industry? I keep telling people tech is not its own very separate industry. Tech is the advancement of technologies across industries. And so what that means, if you're in tech, have you considered ed tech? Or are you saying you want to get out of education, period? These are things that you need to have clear and mapped out. Is it your company? Have you been there too long? Because if you've outgrown that position, you're probably going to do that somewhere else. So that means you have a problem with communicating, right? It means that you're not understanding how to leverage tenure at a company you're currently with. Okay, all these things matter. You have to understand what your problem is so that you can get the best out of these paid services. Only you can communicate your issue. Use what your issue is as the driver for these tough conversations. Okay? If you don't know, I'm just stuck. I'm just ready for a change. I want to pivot. That's not enough. And when you get in these groups or these services or resume writers, you get frustrated when you get the result because you weren't clear on what you wanted in the beginning. So it's not that they didn't know what they were doing. You didn't know what you wanted. You were expecting them to literally paint a picture of what you want. And there's no service out there that does that. So be clear on what your issue is so that you can actively communicate that. Be aware of your true and real weakness. I cannot stress this enough. A lot of clients, and I don't say this to be mean, but I have to constantly ask people, how do you interview? I think I'm okay. Okay, if you don't interview bad, how's things going when you're interviewing? Are there people who are saying, wow, you interview well, it's just that the competition was fierce? Are there people saying, wow, you interview well, it's just that we weren't really looking for someone with your skill set? What is it? Okay. What exactly is it that you do really bad? And the reason why this is important is because you need to know if somebody's telling you interview bad, or you heard your interview and you knew you did bad, or you get the interviews but you don't get the job, is because you can't interview, right? And so if you're hiring someone, your problem is not a resume. And I've had to have this conversation with clients many a times. They'll say, oh, I need my resume. Oh, you don't need your resume. You need to focus on interviewing, because if you can barely interview and you're trying to go interview at Twitter, Google, Metaverse, all these places, the competition is fierce. So, okay, your resume gets you in, but what happens to your interview when you can't make it to round 2 and 3? When you don't know how to speak about the year in review based on the quarter, when you don't know what to expect when they say, so here's our issue, what would be your first approach? What strategies would you use? If you don't know how to answer those questions, you need to be focused on your interview, because by the time your resume is done, these people are going to want to start talking, interviewing. They're going to expect you to be ready and packaged. So know what your issue is. Do you lose stamina in the interview and cannot last multiple rounds? Do you ramble? I have a lot of clients who tell me they interview well, and the interview, tell me about yourself, it goes left. They start rambling. They sound like they're reading off of a script. It's monotoned. It's very boring. That recruiter is probably going to be like, oh, okay, and be ready to go to the next person that they feel more of a strike of charisma with. Okay? Where are you getting stuck? You need to know what your weaknesses are before you go out and hire any executive services. If you have 28 years of tenure, you carry executive leadership, and you're trying to move up into executive leadership in another industry, how is that going to happen when you can't communicate what you're contributing? They're not going to ask you what you're responsible for. How did you impact revenue? Do you know how to answer that? If you don't know how to answer questions that they're going to ask you in a leadership interview, then your problem is not your resume. Your problem is your interview. Does that make sense? So this is the stuff that I'm talking about. People book these services. They don't know what their issues are. They don't know anything about the industry they're pivoting into, but they're going off of what they saw in Facebook groups from people who are not in the position they're trying to get in. So now you have information overload. Focus on you. What are your real weaknesses? When they make an offer, do you know how to negotiate your salary? Do you know how to do a counter offer? There are a lot of ways to do that. There are a lot of things to ask for. There are a lot of things that you have to communicate. Do you understand that? Do you understand what's on the table? Okay, if you don't understand this and you say, oh, I need a resume. No, you need a career coach because you need somebody to coach you through all of these areas. If you say, no, my interviews are great, then why are you looking for a resume writer? Right? Are you saying you're not getting callbacks? Because if you're not getting callbacks, then the problem might be your interview and your resume. So make sure you're getting feedback. Think back over what your issue has been. Is your LinkedIn not getting any hits? Is your I have a client. I literally outlined what to put in the LinkedIn, and she changed it to something else. And oh, I'm not getting hits. Okay, either you can put in there what's optimized for your type of background, or you can just keep applying for random jobs that just have the same title that you're looking for. You have to understand, if you're going to book these services, you also have to follow the strategy that they're providing to you. Either you're going to be the expert and take the front seat and not hire anybody and do a DIY, or you're going to take the back seat and be under the direction of someone else, because clearly you're reaching out because this is an area that you cannot maneuver through very well. So this is something that a lot of people book services with. They don't have a real understanding of where they're weak. Okay? Here's some questions to ask the recruiter. How does your process work? Not the recruiter, but the resume writer or the career coaching service. I need to change that. Here are the questions you need to ask these people. How does your process work? If you're trying to go into a career coaching, well, I need a resume in 2 days. No, ma'am. If you're going into career coaching, you do not need to be forcing these people to shorten their services so you can hurry up and get a resume. The issue is not that. If you just want your resume redone, go to a resume writer, right? So ask them, how does their process work? If it's a resume writer, ask them how the process work. If they take your resume and they don't consult with you, I would be curious as to how they even know what to put in there if they're not going to do some type of assessment. Ask them about their experience with your issue and your goal. Notice I didn't say give them your resume and tell them what you want done. No, ma'am. If you know your resume is not really speaking into, it's not updated, okay, tell them that. If you interview bad or you feel like, you want your resume to kind of help you make a pivot into strategic partnerships for software companies or whatever, make sure you say that. If you say your issue is that when recruiters get your resume, they always tell you you're underqualified or overqualified. Do you get in the interview and then bomb? Okay, so you need to know that. What is your goal? Hey, I'm trying to pivot into a director's role in this industry. This is the salary target. I don't know what to do. Okay, what kind of commitment do you require to render your service? I cannot stress this. There are people who think that they're going to be able to interview for VP roles and they want their resume in 2 days and they want to go through coaching for 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. Okay, so make sure you understand what you're asking and what the level of commitment requires. How did you get started in career coaching? What's your background? For me personally, I have used career coaches and executive services. I'll talk a little bit about my experience, but you need to understand, if these resume writers don't come from the tech industry, are they just copying and pasting words out of job descriptions into your resume and LinkedIn? Okay, so you need to make sure these people understand the industry that you're trying to pivot into. What's their background? How did you get into resume writing? Have you done these types of resumes? Is there people's profiles I can go look at? What is your area of expertise or main focus? What do you typically do? Is this outside of that? Have you ever used executive services or coaching or resume writers yourself? If not, what are you basing your experience on? Listen, I am a firm believer in we cannot preach what we cannot see or experience. So if they've never used career coaching or executive services, if this person has never been an executive, they've never been a VP, how can they be coaching you on how to be one? So these are questions you need to ask to avoid getting scammed. 1, 2, to avoid wasting your time and their time. 3, most important, you don't want to get in these services and blame these people for you not understanding what you got into. Okay, so make sure you're asking the right questions. LinkedIn, to ensure they're real clients on LinkedIn. I have nothing to hide. Nobody should have anything to hide. I have a hard time believing that you're this hard-hitting professional when you have no LinkedIn. Testimonials, recommendations, that says enough. What are they known for? Do they have media coverage? Type me in Google. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see that I've been in this lane for a while. What are they known for? Do they have executive experience? Do they come from a major corporation? Do they have a huge following? You can buy followers. So please don't let the person with 4,000 followers make you feel like they don't know what they're doing because this person has 90,000. Sometimes those people with a lot of followers really are not necessarily what you think they are. A lot of the times people can buy followers on TikTok and all of these other services. So keep it simple. If you saw somebody on TikTok, you want to work with them, go look at their LinkedIn, look at their testimonials, and see what their experience is. A lot of people can go viral and have a huge following. You can even buy followers across all platforms, okay? Next thing, oops. So what did I do to gain notability with the CEO? I asked him what I could have done better as it pertains to capital projects. So I opened up a conversation to understand how far am I from my goal, right? What do I need to do to be a leader in your eyes? Where am I weak? And I took that feedback and I used that to find me an executive service or career coach to help me get there, right? So that's what I mean. I took what I was weak at. I watched the other executives around me. There was some things they did better than me. I did not understand like these quarterly reports and quarterly plans. So I went to executive services to help round out my skill set. Executive services are extremely expensive. I purposely offer my executive services for less than $5,000 because I know how hard it is for some people to even come up with that kind of money. But I was fortunate enough that I was making enough money where it wasn't a problem for me. But most people in the Black and brown communities, they don't have access to that kind of fund or those type of funds. So it's hard for them to gain an understanding and a full capture of what executive leadership truly entails. Clearly outline your needs and weaknesses, okay? If they give a free session, I give free sessions. Don't use that to get a problem solved. Can you tell me what I'm doing? Don't do that. Use that session to ask those questions that I just told you. Use that session to see if they really understand what your problem is. Okay? That way you'll know, oh, okay, this person is worth my time. This person doesn't get it. Okay? Make it count. It's an investment that can shift you into another tax bracket. For career coaches who will just give you a deal, I'm going to just give it to you for $200. Just keep in mind, value is best when it has a price to it. You cannot go to Louis Vuitton and talk those people down on those prices. Okay, so make sure if you sense that little scammy feeling, stay away from it. And then most importantly, guys, I have a Patreon. I have 2 Patreons you can join. There's one for those of you who are trying to do the basics and the basic foundation on how to pivot into tech. And then there's another one for those of you who are moving into high 6-figure careers, 250 and up, VP to C-suite, to 6 to 7 figure range. If you don't understand what it entails as a VP, a leader, a director, what these interview questions will be, what these organizations expect from you, this is a good group for you to join. It's for people pivoting into leadership in their current organization and in a new organization, in tech or any other booming industry. So make sure you join my Patreon. I look forward to meeting you guys in the Patreon. You can follow me on at Slatepedia. My handle is the same across all my social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Just type in Slatepedia and you're going to see my little face pop up. And I wish you the best of luck on your journey. If you have any questions, please drop them down below and I will be excited, if not elated, to get back to you. I hope you guys enjoy your evening. Do you have any questions for me before I go? Any questions? Okay, so I'm going to assume you don't have any questions. I look forward to speaking with you guys. You guys have a great one. God bless.